Hi, I'm Frankie, and I'm 9 years old. I started climbing mountains when I was just 3, and since then, I've already climbed over 900 mountains all around the world. I'm the youngest Brit to summit Mount Olympus in Greece. I've climbed Mount Tootcal, reached Everest Base Camp, and I've even completed the Wainwright's Challenge, not once, but twice. Now I'm on a mission to become the youngest person to climb the highest peak in every European country. Every climb has been a huge adventure, and along the way I've raised thousands for charities while breaking records. But this podcast isn't just about me. It's about other amazing people who do great things, who move the mountains in their own lives, just like I do. So what are you waiting for? Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is Frankie Moves the Mountains, and you can move them too. Today we're talking about someone really awesome, Gary McKee. People call him the Marathon Man, and you'll see why. A couple of years ago, Gary ran a marathon every single day for a whole year. That's 365 marathons. Can you imagine running 26 miles every day? Gary did it to help people who are sick, and he raised more than £1 million for charity, Macmillan Cancer Support and West Cumbria Hospice. And guess what? He's still running. Right now he's doing 100 marathons in 100 days, and he's going to finish at the London Marathon with his son Bo. That's like the coolest dad and son team ever. Not all superheroes wear capes, and Gary's proof of that. I first met Gary in one of the most amazing moments of my life. A few months ago, I was nominated for the Cumbria Sports Awards, and to my surprise, won a Special Achievement Award for my mountain challenges and fundraising work. And who was the person who called me to the stage and presented me with that award? And in front of hundreds of people? None other than Gary McKee himself. Winning that award was special, but receiving it from someone I've always admired made it extraordinary. That was the first time I met Gary, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming him here as my guest. Frankie Moves the Mountains, proudly brought to you by Axiom Joint Venture. Thanks for coming, Gary. First things first, do people actually call you the Marathon Man, or is that just me?
No, people do actually call me the Marathon Man, and we have a Marathon Man page, a Facebook page, and it's followed by about, 10,000-12,000 people. So I am known, certainly in this area, as the Marathon Man, and you call me the Marathon Man, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, first thing, can you just tell everyone a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Gary McKee. I live at Cleatormoor. I'm 56 years old. I'm married, got 3 children. 2 of them are grown up. Alfie's 20, coming up 21. Our boy is 18 and my daughter Minnie is 13. I became a fundraiser in 20-something years ago, 2003. And I've raised over £2 million. I've done lots of different challenges myself. I've cycled through Brazil, climbed Kilimanjaro. I've ran from Land's End to John O'Groats. I've done the 3 Peaks. I'm the only person to have ran the Fred Whitten cycle route. I've run 100 marathons in 100 days, 110 marathons in 110 days, and 365 marathons in 365 days. In January, I'm going to be running 100 marathons in 100 days, finishing with the London Marathon with my son Bo.
Wow. Right, so first question. How did it feel whenever you completed your 365 marathons in 365 days? Because it seems pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was. You get a little bit of a bittersweet feeling because you know that when you come to the end of a challenge, that money stops coming in, and the whole reason that you're doing challenges are to raise money for the charities that you're trying to support. So it's a little bit of a bittersweet feeling, but it's also a year of running marathons every day is quite taxing on your body. So it's welcomed when you come towards the end. You see what you've achieved, you see the people who supported you throughout, and you see them grow in their own development of being runners or just picking up skills that can be transferred into everyday life. So it was an incredible feeling coming to the end, and on the very, very final day, we hit my target of £1 million raised at 7:20 that night. The Just Giving page went over to £1 million. When we closed it, it was close to £1.4 million raised. So that's an incredible feeling, and it gives lots and lots of support to people who's gone through bad times.
Yeah, that's really cool. How do you think that other people felt whenever they saw you complete it? Like impressed, like happy, because your wife and 3 children would definitely feel good.
Obviously, my wife and my kids were delighted that I'd achieved what I set out to achieve. There's always difficulties in a year. You can be ill, you can pick up injuries. But in life, it's about taking one step at a time, and within the word challenge is the word change. Sometimes you just need to change what you're doing to get the results that you're looking for. So when I was running, I picked up an injury and I had to slow down. I had to change what I was doing and slow down. Sometimes that you need to do in life, just slow down, look at the bigger picture and crack on with things. You'll know yourself if you're going up a mountain and it's a bit of steep terrain. You just got to slow down. You've got to take one step at a time. By doing that and keeping moving forward, you'll get there in the end. So that's what it's about. But additional to that, I was very, very happy to see other people running distances that they didn't think they could at the beginning. People who were turning up and doing half marathons and then full marathons. So it was all round. Everybody got something out of it. And I'm going to use the word team because we did put a team together. And team is an acronym for together, everyone achieves more. And the more people that you help, the better you feel about yourself.
Wow. You said injury. That must have been a real setback. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, I started getting a bit of a pull on my hamstring, and it gradually got worse and worse and worse. And I was running. One of the guys who was running with me was my doctor, and he put a cortisone injection in, but it probably made it worse, if anything. So my times, pardon me, my times went from running marathons in just over 3.5 hours to almost 4 hours and then 4.5. And I had to manage this injury. I got lots of physio on it. And I took my time and got through things. It was a bit of a worrying time, but there was no way in the world that I was ever going to stop doing what I was doing. So I was a little bit concerned. We got through the difficult part and we carried on and we got to the end.
Well, I've actually never heard of doctors making things worse. I've always heard of them making things better.
He was a witch doctor.
Right, so children dream big. My dream is to climb to the top of Mount Everest. What was your biggest dream when you were a child?
So, first of all, let's talk about dreams. And a dream is only ever going to be realised if it's accompanied by a timeline and a plan. Because people have dreams, but they never ever see them develop because they don't do things about it. Dreams don't just happen. You've got to push them yourself. So for me, I always wanted to be a good footballer. But like most people, you have dreams of scoring the winning goal in a cup final or things like that. And it was never ever going to be that because I wasn't much of I wasn't a bad footballer, but I didn't excel like others did. So then I focused on rugby, and I was quite good at rugby. And I got an injury that sort of pushed me back. And then as a child, it was trying to maintain other people's levels of competence. So I wanted to be as good as my friends. But you'll soon realise that the competition is only ever with yourself and to get the best out of yourself. And I started doing that. So if you can do your best and give your best, you can't do any more than that. So my dreams as a child, I suppose, were just to be as good as I could be.
Mm-hmm. That's all that matters. Try your best and, yeah.
And everything else will come. And I watch people doing, people who's ran with me and they've they've tried the best, and it's proved they just keep going, put one foot in front of the other, and they've got further than they ever thought that they would. And when I look at the inspiration that's around me, I think of people like yourself, people who's only young but very, very ambitious, people who are setting out what they want to do, and they're achieving things, great things, and then they're raising their own bar, and then they go again. So it's all about achieving things and then realising I can do more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying you do,
Yeah.
pushing yourself further and further each time.
And then again, going back to the marathons, it doesn't really matter what place you get or how fast you do it. It just matters that you try your best and all.
So a 4-hour marathon is the same distance as a 6-hour marathon. It's all about getting there. Doesn't matter how long it takes. It's all about finishing, starting something and getting to the end and finishing it.
Yeah. Right, so what was your greatest memory from your childhood? If you were to close your eyes, what is the first childhood memory which comes to your mind?
So I remember when I was a child that my dad was at work all the time, and I remember once he made me, he was making a cooked breakfast, and I think I was probably only about 4-year-old, maybe 3. And I said to him, Dad, can I have a cooked breakfast? Because I want to grow big and strong like you. And my dad cooked me a full English breakfast. So there was 2 eggs on it. There was sausage, bacon, mushrooms that we got out of the field. There was everything on it. And I remember sitting down thinking, wow, I'll never eat all that big breakfast. But I wanted to be like my dad. So I did. I ate it. And he just looked at me in amazement. And he had a big smile on his face. I think he said something like, that's my boy.
As this is Frankie Moves the Mountains podcast, I have to ask you this question. What is your favourite mountain and why?
So I've been up lots of mountains. I've climbed Kilimanjaro in one of my challenges. I've done the 3 peaks in under 24 hours. I've done lots of the Wainwrights. I think probably my favourite mountain is Red Pike and Adele Side. So I've been up onto Red Pike probably with 25 different people, so 25 different climbs up and down. And I used to use it as a bit of a training ground, but I would go up with different people who hadn't been up it, because I think the views from the top, you can see 5 of the lakes. And it's it isn't an easy climb up there. I always go from the Gillerthwaite and straight up, and it's quite steep. But when you get to the top, and in life, when you get to the top of anything, you feel it's quite exhilarating, and it puts a big smile on your face. And if you can do something that puts a smile on your face, you want to do it more. That's why I bring more people, because when you take somebody up for the first time and they look around and they go, wow, you want to keep that feeling. It's the feel-good factor, and you want to sustain it and carry on doing it. So you bring more people up and more people up and more people up. So my favourite is Red Pike.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good one. And finally, question for me. Is there any question you would like to ask me? Fire away.
Well, of course, there's questions I would like to ask you, because, first of all, I think you're absolutely fantastic in what you're doing. Every time I saw you, you've had a smile on your face. And I know I watch your videos. I watch your mum's Facebook page, and it puts a smile on my face. And what you're doing is helping so many people. So you've got your ideas, and you've got your heart set on the European 10 top peaks in Europe. What comes after that? We know we've got Everest, and Everest's the highest mountain in the world, 29,028 feet. So what do we do after Everest?
I really don't know. This came to my mind maybe like only half a year ago, but we actually I made a big plan with the Sherpa that took us up Mount Everest Base Camp. I think it was Merapik, then Choyu, Amadablam, Makalu, Everest, and then at the end, maybe K2.
Fantastic.
Maybe.
Absolutely fantastic. And the thing is, you've just got to keep raising your bar.
Mm.
You know, there will be setbacks. But setbacks just make you stronger. You've just got to keep going, and you use your setbacks as an opportunity for growth and an opportunity to learn.
Yeah, but what I meant was maybe like half a year ago, I thought of doing the 7 summits, but that's just a plan that I made with my Sherpa whenever I had the time.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. I'm doing the London Marathon with my son in April, and he's 18, and he wants to do all the majors on the marathon circuit. So Berlin's one. There's 5, but they've put it up to 7 now. So he's going to do that over a period of time, and I think it's great that young people have a focus and a goal in life that they can strive to get to, and then, as I said to you earlier, when they're successful, that's when things change and they go for a higher goal. And my advice to you would be, just keep being you, because you are a fantastic young man. You're an ambassador to so many different reasons, and the biggest reason I always tell people, certainly young people like yourself, is you probably haven't realised yet what your superpower is, and your superpower is your smile. And I've seen it now, and it makes me happy. And whenever you're going up a mountain and people are struggling, give them your smile, because that will get them to the top. And we all have different mountains in our head, and all our mountains are of different height. And by that I mean the challenges that we face in life. Everybody's different capabilities. You just keep being you, keep putting smiles on people's faces, always reach for the stars. You're very, very close to them with where you're going anywhere, and just keep being you. Frankie McMillan, the person who's making molehills out of mountains.
Right, so a few extra questions. Who did you want to become when you were a child?
So you tend to think about people if you're a sporty person, you would think of somebody in the sporting world. And I always watched football, and I looked at Kevin Keegan and Brian Robson and people like that, who were England football captains. And then you look at the rugby, and you sort of model yourself around them. You want to succeed like they've succeeded. But like anything in life, you've got to put the hard work in. And then when you look at it, when you get older, you just want to be yourself. You've got your own identity, and it's quite important that you stay loyal to yourself and you just do what you are capable of doing.
Yeah. Next question. What was your biggest achievement that you have ever accomplished?
I think a lot of people would probably think it would be the 365. That was and I don't just mean the running part, I mean the fundraising part of it. It was always difficult to raise £1 million, but we succeeded. I had the honour and the pleasure of running with a friend last year who was running from Land's End to John O'Groats. I'd previously ran that route in 2011, and he used my route. And I ran with him for 5 days, but the difference between me and him is I'm able-bodied and fully sighted, and he's blind. So when I ran with him, I was his lead runner, and I was telling him of any debris on the road or what to look out for, and up and down curbs, and it just I felt incredibly proud when he'd finished it, that I'd been part of his success story. He became the first person who was blind to run from Land's End to John O'Groats, and that's a massive, massive achievement. So that's probably one of my success stories. Another one would be I helped somebody around the London Marathon last year. Was it last year or the year before? And they always wanted to get in under 4 hours, and they just couldn't do it. I took him behind me. I collected all his water, and we got him in 3 hours and 58 minutes. So just little things like that, personal levels. I always believe that the things I've done are things that I've always been capable of doing. Sometimes what we forget about is pushing yourself a little bit further and a little bit harder to get the best out of yourself. And I believe that all the stuff was what was within me, and I just wanted to to be successful. I have felt challenged, but I've never felt beaten.
Mhm. And that's always a thing that you have to do. Like, like you should never feel beaten because if you try your best, then that's literally all you can do. And final thing, what's your favourite quote or saying?
My favourite quote or saying, so every day that I was running the 365, somebody used to put a box out, and the box had water in, and it had bits of chocolate in, and biscuits and stuff like that. And it meant that I didn't have to carry it. But on top of the box was a quote of the day. And we used to read the quotes out because there's thousands and thousands of quotes out there. And some things that people say to you will lift you. And I remember when my son was running, and I used to say a word to him every single day. And that word was a Latin word, and it was resurgam. And that translates to, I shall rise again. So my son ran for 501 days. He didn't feel as if that was enough. He wanted to do 1,000. And I said, no, it is too much, because he was only 10. He was a little bit older than you are now. And he raised over £40,000. And every day that we ran, we used that word, resurgam, and that allowed him to pick himself up, refocus, and go again. And it's something that you should think about, resurgam, I shall rise again, because every time you put your foot on a mountain, you are rising to the very top. If you can rise to the top within your own ability, you're doing something right. So Frankie, resurgam, I shall rise again.
Mm-hmm. Right, so I know you're doing 100 marathons in 100 days. And can you just give a little link to your fundraising page?
Yeah, so I've got a Just Giving page, so you can either go on to Just Giving and type in the box Gary McKee, and it'll come up. But the fundraising is 100 to London. We're hoping to raise £100,000, and that will give me total raised for hospice at home West Cumbria to £1 million. It's always difficult to try and raise them amounts of money, but I'm quite confident that we can get there. And the thing is, if we don't, there's always something else to do. And I'll continue to do what I do until we have raised £1 million. So thank you for that little shout out, Frankie.
I should really be the one thanking you. Thanks for your time and thanks for coming.
No problem. I've really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.